Welcome to Kinky Knots Cafe, Proactive is the Way, where we provide you tools and resources to enhance your mind, body, and spirit. Get ready, folks. Let us nurture you from the inside out. We are not who we are because of our atoms, our molecules, our DNA. We're who we are because of the stories we tell ourselves about the pain we're in, the hopes we have, the dreams we live with. Seth Godin. Hello, my friends. Today, we are diving into Kendra Hall's book, Choose Your Story, Change Your Life, Silence Your Inner Critic, and Rewrite Your Life from the Inside Out. Let me start off by sharing that I enjoyed reading this book. The author, Kendra, really provided some insightful information on how to effectively do a deep introspection to find the origin of why we make the decisions we choose and how the stories we develop played into our decision-making process. In this book, she shared so many great stories. I enjoyed reading the stories of how Kendra helped her clients analyze the path that they chose, or perhaps the hand that they were dealt in life by taking a thoughtful approach to dissecting their lives and finding the origin of the story that led them to developing good and bad behaviors, self-deprecating or destructive thoughts, and influenced the decisions that they made. Then she helped them to put forth an action plan to develop a new internal dialogue that they could use to develop new systems that would help them to positively change their lives. This book helped me personally to dig deep and garner a better understanding as to what is lying within us that is ultimately keeping us from moving forward in life. What narratives have we been putting on repeat that have prevented us from living our lives to the fullest and unashamed? What stories have been crafted for us or that we have endured due to encounters within our life that were designed to lead us down a path of destruction and despair and has forced us to continue to lean on as if it was our destiny? How many times have you heard that? Oh, this is your destiny. That was what you were destined to do or become. I have heard this over and over within my life. Who I was supposed to be and not what I desired to become. Well, within this book, we will go on a journey to reclaim our life by rediscovering narratives and determining which ones need to be trashed and acquire a step-by-step guide on how to create new narratives, the ones that we have always desired, or rewrite narratives that we created that no longer serves us. We will go on a journey to learn how to properly leverage our gifts of foresight and intuition to craft better stories for ourselves instead of perpetuating archaic beliefs. Really, folks? What are the beauties of these gifts if we are not properly leveraging them to craft progressive and positive stories within our lives that will advance our status within life and overall our society? So, if you haven't figured it out yet, why am I focusing on this? Why is owning your own story and creating the right narratives so important? Let me get into providing an overview of the book Choose Your Story, Change Your Life by Kendra Hall. To understand its importance, Kendra takes us back in time to the origin of the storytelling and how our ancestors were avid storytellers. Our ancestors used to host fireside chats to share information, enhance bonding and trust, and accelerate our learning experiences. Storytelling served as an opportunity to recall our past and develop new pathways to our desired future. It is what made us a species, folks. It is what made us human. These same stories are what we use today to solve problems, make plans, exercise self-control, and reflect on ourselves. As we started to reflect more on ourselves, we used those stories to evolve and develop an internal dialogue for survival purposes. We started to develop internal dialogue to help us stay safe, fit into a respective community, better understand our environment, and educate the next generation on how to do the same. Unfortunately, sometimes the stories in which we create, the internal dialogue, can create gaps, leading us astray from what we desire, and as such, need to be analyzed. We continue on this journey of hope and empowerment as Kendra helps us to better understand our self-stories. What are they and where do they come from? She shares that when we can identify the origin of why we make the decisions that we do and identify these invisible stories that we tell ourselves, we can begin to narrow this gap that exists between where we are and where we want to be in life. It is so important that we develop this level of awareness so that we will be able to develop a plan to take the right course of action to finding success. Let me tell you, folks, that there is nothing worse in life than knowing that this gap exists and never doing anything about it. We need to get in alignment and make sure that our inner storyteller is well aligned with the image that we want to share with the world. As Kendra shares, we want to ensure that the stories that we are leveraging is creating the reality that we truly want. Kendra also takes us through the science of storytelling, the chemical and hormonal reactions that occur that perpetuates how our brain perceives and interprets stories that we have developed based on life experiences, and how we use those same stories to either lead us towards or away from our destination. Essentially, how these stories can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, which could have a good or a very bad outcome depending on how we leverage them. Most time, we tend to lean on the bad stories and oftentimes find that our personal narratives were crafted due to the fact that our human nature has a strong propensity to gravitate towards bad news and fear, or what scientists call negativity bias. Kendra shares that research shows we tend to remember traumatic incidents better and that we think more frequently about negative things. We also learn from these negative experiences and tend to make decisions based more on negative information than positive. This can have a negative influence on our stories, giving them a negative slant. While our negative bias has helped us survive, it has also kept leading us in circles, keeping us feeling safe but stuck in familiar places. So, how do we break out of this and begin to craft new stories to close the gap? How do we develop a more powerful and influential story so that the reality that has been created changes for the better? How do we move from the insane, repeating the same story, doing the same things, expecting different results, to the same? We do this by creating a more favorable story or choosing a different story, our story, so that we can change our lives. Kendra takes us through a 4-step process to reconstructing our inner voice. She states, if we can follow this process, we will be able to better develop the right systems to craft the life that we desire. The 4-step process is as follows. Step 1, identify our invisible stories. Step 2, analyze our inner story under a magnifying glass. Step 3, create a new or revise our story so that it better serves us. Step 4, put our new story to work. In Kendra's book, she takes us through how to do this most effectively and then shares how others within certain facets of their life went through the same 4-step process to transform their lives. Basically, providing us a blueprint to effectively transform our lives in business and career, health and our overall well-being, money and finances, relationships, and love. Wonderful insight, folks. If you have not picked up a copy of this book, Choose Your Story, Change Your Life, Silence Your Inner Critic, and Rewrite Your Life from the Inside Out, I highly recommend that you go now to KK Cafe approved book list and pick up your copy. Details on how to purchase are in the description. Join us in 2 weeks when we continue our discussions of Own Your Story with Tiffany. To access all replays or learn more about Kinky Knots Cafe's Proactive is the Way, please visit www.kinkyknotscafe.com. Proactive is the way, my friends. Take good care.